Welcome, Taurus, your Jupiter in Cancer. No more blocks. Deep dive forecast. If we go back to June the 9th, 2025, Jupiter, the planet of hope and expansion, moved into the water sign of Cancer. A lot of people trumpeted that this was going to be a particularly fortuitous transit because Jupiter is in its exaltation in Cancer. But I did caution at the time, I didn't think it was going to be that easy. Why? Because the event chart, the exact moment Jupiter arrived, was really challenging. And that's provided a backdrop from then through to now. Sure enough, loads of people have shared over the last year their frustration with Jupiter in Cancer. But I'm going to share with you now exactly what that initial chart was about, Taurus, but also why the rest of June can provide redemption. No more blocks. By the end of the video, you'll have a clear picture of what's upcoming through to the end of June in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol on the screen is that initial event chart. And sure enough, there's Jupiter in Cancer met by Mercury. Ironically, Mercury's back in Cancer now. But that combination, if we've got a home business, is brilliant because Cancer very much about our need for security and nurture, and maybe your communications with certain people in your immediate family have really been good over the last year. However, the third house for you is very much about getting your message out there. If you have your own channel, you're writing, you're involved in PR, anything to do with digital technology, you may have really been applying yourself in a very patient way. But if we look at the position of Saturn, the planet of limitation, and Jupiter in an exact square. Well, I say exact, it became precise on the 15th of June, but only 1 degree away. So Jupiter's desire to really share things very enthusiastically is limited perhaps by maybe some deeper psychological blockages, or maybe just circumstances haven't made it easy to get your message out there. Also, Mercury uh, in the sign of Cancer in a square with Saturn, that could have seen at times over the last year where your own thinking perhaps run a little bit on the lower side, easy to see things as a glass half full. And then Neptune in the conjunction with Saturn in the 12th house, your vitality, particularly if you're a very sensitive Taurus, may have been impacted at times just by what you're reading and watching online or on TV. And Neptune's square with Mercury very disorientating, and Neptune's square with Jupiter very much to do with the potential for exaggeration, not necessarily by you, but by people you've encountered. So one of the things that may have played out over the last year is you may have experienced some people that at first seemed very bright and breezy and just your proverbial cup of tea. But then you found out that actually there were lots of catches. If you have had some changes in your friendship group, that wouldn't be a surprise either. Unfortunately, some fair weather friends may have been revealed. Also, in your own zodiac sign, your ruler Venus, although in a very strong sextile to Jupiter and Mercury, was challenged by Pluto, a very tense square. So, whatever you've wanted to express, you may have encountered some powerful people or person who didn't necessarily want to hear what you had to say. And this may have created a lot of frustration. Uranus in your own sign, trying to be imaginative and fresh, challenged by Mars in your fourth house. So your frustration at times may have boiled over. And also, if we look at the position of Jupiter, if you are trying to message something out to a bigger audience, Pluto in a quincunx with these guys. So as much as your heart may have been in the right place, Cancer, You may have been very invested in your message, Cancer. You may have been very skillfully sharing your message. You may have been providing a service, perhaps in your local community, the third house, that is to do with property maintenance. Entirely possible. And Pluto at the top of your chart has just made it a little bit more challenging. It may not always have flown or have gone forwards exactly to plan. Doesn't mean to say you won't have kept going, because that's where your inner resilience is so important. But the wonderful news for you personally, Taurus, is on the 9th of June 2026, your ruler Venus coalesces with Jupiter in an exact conjunction. Now, it did happen last year on the 12th of August, but it's not going to happen for many, many years. And that combination, the two planets of fortune in traditional astrology, known as the benefics, is delicious. But particularly if you're getting together with people you really care for, or perhaps you are trying to get over the line, maybe a rental or a purchase on a property, there may be some good news that comes your way. But ironically, and this is the incredible thing with astrology, Mercury is once again challenged by Saturn. So, as much as you may want to really believe in the positivity of this event, and you may again hear the message out that this is the luckiest day of the year, for you personally, there is the challenge that Neptune and the Moon are in a conjunction in your 12th house. So expect to feel very, very tender. And Saturn is squaring Mercury. So there may be some kind of blockage. Someone's not getting in touch in the way you would like, which is deeply frustrating. What helps you, though, to keep going is that Mars in your zodiac sign is fortifying your determination, and in fact is in a very strong link with Mercury. So even if you are or have been experiencing some exasperation that things aren't going as quickly as you would like, just know by the 28th of June they can do. So here is the event chart of Mars just coming to the end of its journey in your sign. It will move on the 28th of June. It's been with you for 6 long weeks, but it's in a delicious link with Mercury and Jupiter. And that link to Jupiter is almost exact. So that sextile can bring you the reward. So if you really kept at it, shown that resilience, kept going with the service message or whatever you're passionate about, kept getting it out there, it can be heard. I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Taurus. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It was for many years buy 2 get 30% off. Now, with the cost of living increases, I've reduced the price to help. So it's 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that play out in our lives, get a more intimate understanding of them, and we can work with that energy better future forwards. 3, your 12 months transit forecast, but also your Draconic Soul Karmic analysis. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly forecast on the screen, Chiron moving into your sign on the 19th of June, a 50-year return on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, pleasure, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope, find your device each morning. You can do so below. Get your early day celestial pit stop. So to summarize, energy. I think over the last year, particularly, there may have been times when your psychological energy may have been very tender. But most of all, when you've been around people who haven't really been as enthusiastic or as sincere as you. But if you've been with people who have, your inner strength and toughness has kept you going. But there may have been times also when your physical energy was lower. But you're ending the month of June on fine form. Mars in your zodiac sign in a sextile with Jupiter is one of the most radiant, positive, and charged up vibes we can have. So if you're really committed to something, keep driving towards what you want to achieve. As far as your professional situation is concerned, I do feel that your message will have got through. If you are providing a service, so you're very skilled at shaping ideas, that will have landed. It just may have taken a toll on you in terms of how much vitality you've had to put into it. But I think your reward is coming through to the end of this month. And Pluto does continue to be in a very influential part of your chart. And look at Pluto in that link with Uranus. And just towards the end of June, Mars, as it moves later on the 28th into the sign of Gemini, links with Uranus and back to Pluto, and a sudden piece of amazing good financial news can still drop for you. Romantically, wow, your words will have carried more persuasion for sure over the last year. And Venus, of course, let's go back to that lovely Venus conjunct Jupiter. That is delicious. If you're talking to someone where it feels in your heart really sincere, then that's really lovely indeed. However, I think if there has been someone around you who hasn't been truthful or sincere, been a bit of a game player, maybe even ghosting has gone on, that wouldn't really, unfortunately, be a surprise. But if you've yet to meet someone, do know that the future can still be bright for you. Absolutely. And I think Chiron moving into your sign, even if it is for 3 short months this year, it's really asking you to keep the faith when it comes to your personal identity and the qualities you have. As far as the money side of things is going, as I mentioned, with Mars connecting to Uranus, there could be a breakthrough both professionally and financially before the month comes to a close. It's been a pleasure being with you, Taurus. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.